Hello there, I'm Suzanne at sunstampin.com. Today is Video Friday and I'd like to demonstrate on how to make these cube boxes with lids. Of course, all the measurements in the supply list is on my blog, so if you missed something, you can check for it there later. So I decided, I think I'm going to do this size. Take a look at the tiniest little box with a little treat in it. And this is a 2x2, 3x3 cube, and of course the big kahuna, the 4x4. Right now it's holding some of my ribbons. So I'm just going to move those aside. I really like this one. I actually had a different DSP on the top, but then I had a little extra to make that. I thought it was so cute. Anyway. Obviously the same recipe to make all of those boxes. So what you're going to need is your scoring tool and 2 pieces of cardstock, and they measure, this one's 9 by 9 and this is 5 1/16 by 5 1/16, and that's just so that the lid actually can go off and on easily. So you do have to make a little bit of a bigger piece of cardstock. This is really simple. It's a very simple build. So what we're going to do is, because we're making the 3x3, we are going to score at 3 inches. Whoops. Turn around 3 inches. Turn around 3 inches. Turn around and 3 inches. So that's the scoring done on that piece. And I will just do the lid here while we've got the scoring tool out. So most of my lids are actually 1 inch. It works better. So, and it looks better too. So we're going to score at 1 inch. And I'm going to flip it around. Now this is the 5/16. So basically the middle is actually going to be a little bit bigger than the actual box, so we don't actually buckle the box. Sorry. I've always measuring in my mind, making sure that I'm, always scoring correctly. Because it has happened where I've scored incorrectly and it doesn't match up and look very good. Okay, scoring tool away. What we're going to do here is, might as well do all the scoring, or sorry, all the burnishing or creasing. That's it. And then you can see that little oops I made, and I'm just going to remove it with a bone folder. No big deal though. It's only paper. It's forgiving. And I do believe in something being called handmade. Alright. So that's done. We're going to do a little bit of cutting. So for the lid, I'm just going to cut along the score line on either side, just like that. Opposite side, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to put it off to one side. So now we're going to do the cutting on the base of the box. It's going to be a little bit different. I'm cutting kind of on the left side of the score line, and then I'm just going to cut a little wedge out. It actually helps for, and it's not very much that you cut out, but you can kind of see. Okay, so we've got it like that. We're going to turn it and do the exact same thing on this side. cut out that little score line. I actually made a whole bunch of the 2x2. Okay, turning again. I made a whole bunch of the 2x2 boxes as a thank you gift for a birthday party recently. I made 32 of them. So, and that's this, not the smallest one that I showed you, but the second smallest. And it was a very welcomed gift. I put 2 Lindt chocolates in it. And it was just kind of like a little thank you to everyone who contributed for a birthday present that I was organizing. Okay, so you can kind of see what we've done here. So basically the middle of the box is the square, or is the cross, and then the box parts come up. But it's way easier to decorate if we actually flip it around and decorate. That's the last time with my scissors. Okay, so for the lid, I have a little bit of DSP with adhesive already on it. And the size of this is 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. And you've probably seen a million videos that people cut and glue and whatnot. So I just decided that I was going to tape offline. It saves a bit of time, and I'm a lollygagger here. So the top of the box, you need a 2 7/8 by 7/8. And those are just going to go right on the inside, just a tiny amount of cardstock showing. And this is the Celebration DSP that I'm using. Oftentimes you'll see, well, I have a lot of the clearance item DSP right now too, and that's what this little guy was made from. I think it was called the Floral District. It's ridiculously low in price, and there's nothing wrong with it. They're just going out of stock with it, so new stuff obviously is coming in. So that's the top of the box decorating. You can kind of see where the tabs are now. I'm going to put that aside, and we're going to decorate the base of the box. So again, whoops. Oh well, good enough. Mistakes happen. It's just a little off center there. There we go. Now I find that if you do, lots of us paper crafters, we kind of hoard our nice papers. And I say make a paper project with them, and then you'll be able to see them all the time. You won't have to necessarily give them away. Okay, so mass producing, here we go. Zoink. What I'm going to do, flip it over, and on the tabs we're going to put our Tombow. I prefer Tombow. Some people put sticky strip. Perfectly fine. Sticky strip and I actually have a love-hate relationship. I love the product. The getting the little red backing off with my fingernails is not an easy task. So Tombow is fantastic. So I like to use the desk or a hard surface, just like that. Fold it so it's nice and square. And oftentimes I will go in and trim anything that's left over, because I'm not perfect. And I can see one little edge that despises me. So I'm just going to take that and snip it off. Everything else looks to be, now that looks really cool, and I was thinking, when I was actually making this one, I was thinking I could actually leave off the DSP and just show that beautiful cardstock. I think this is Rich, I can't remember, it's Rich Razzleberry And I think this is pistachio pudding. Sometimes I get my paper and rip it all apart and I forget what I actually bought. So flipping it around, I'm going to do, you can kind of see how that works. Okay, so we want to put our glue on not the X, but on the tabs next to the X. So I'm pretty frugal when it comes to putting on my Tombow. I think people have a tendency to overuse it, and you actually don't need to. It's a pretty strong glue, and all you have to do is just this little line. I like to make it around the corners, do a little square. If it was a big project, it's quite possible that I would put a little bit more on. So there we are. So you can kind of see how it's taking place. Now, the reason why I cut this box this way is A, for strength. The box sides are going to be very strong now. And the second reason is in some box making, you actually put two pieces on one side, and the one side gets very thick and the other sides are still flimsy. So this is a way of doing it very equal, and I try to do it as often as I can in an opportunity like this. The other box shapes I'll show you in future videos. Again, my cutting wasn't fantastic, so excellent. Cute little box. Easter's coming up, I think. I have a niece and a nephew, Maggie and Max, and I think this one has Maggie's name on it, and I'm just going to do a little stamping. Now, I took this stamp from my teeny tiny wishes pack. I think it's really, really cute. Oh, heavy stamping here. When you stamp, it goes straight up and straight down. I have to remind myself of that all the time. So this is the large oval punch. So I'm just going to, I noticed when I got this punch that it has a tendency to be a little rough on the side. This is Whisper White cardstock, but what I'm doing is just softening it with my fingers, or I can go over it with a bone folder. It happens sometimes. Especially with a thinner paper, I find they can, okay. So, and I'm going to use the same color as I used on the box for this little piece. I'm going to use a dimensional on that guy. Oh, I think Maggie and Max are going to love it. I'm just going to fill it with a ton of goodies for them. 2 dimensionals on the back of that. Cute. Boy and a little girl. You can see how I decorated this with the Petite Petals punch. A little black circle from one of my other punch packs. I think it is called the punch pack. And then just a rhinestone on the top. This is the one that came, that I put 2 little Lindt chocolates in it as a thank you for my guests at the party. And again, you can decorate it up if you wish with a pretty ribbon. So up to you. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this little paper crafting Friday video. If you have any questions or want to get a hold of any products you've seen me use today, don't hesitate to get a hold of me. My blog has a contact page. So that's sunstampin.com, and the sun is spelled with 2 N's. Thanks for joining me today. Bye.